I'm going to do a construction of an orthocenter, which is the meeting point of the altitudes. First thing I'm going to do is draw my triangle. This triangle is going to be a little bit different because I may need my sides to be extended outside the triangle to find my orthocenter. For this construction, you can make your triangle slightly smaller than what we've been doing for the other constructions. I extended the lines because when I draw an altitude, I may not be able to have an altitude drawn where it starts at a vertex and it ends within the triangle. Sometimes it might end outside the triangle, which is why my lines are extended. First altitude I'm going to do, it's going to start at this point and it's going to go perpendicular to this opposite side. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my point on that vertex, and this is where you need to sketch it out before you actually do it. So I'm going to swing this around. I need to make sure it's going to hit this line in two places. So it looks like I'm okay here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it in those two locations. So I just created two intersections on that line, here and here. I'm going to use those two intersections for my next step. Remember, my altitude is going to start here and it's going to go perpendicular to this line, and I need to figure out where that 90-degree angle will be. I'm going to put my point on each of these intersections and create a small X out here so that I can draw my line. Don't change my opening. Put my point on the other location and draw that X. So my first altitude starts here and it goes through this intersection. I'm going to make my altitude longer than just those two intersections, just so that we can be sure we're going to have them meet at some point. So that's my first altitude. I'm going to do two more, twisting my page around. My next one is going to start at this point, and it's going to intersect this line at a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to put my compass on that intersection, and I'm going to make sure that it hits this in two locations, and it does. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it there and there. Now I'm going to use these two intersections for my next step to make my X out here so that I can draw my altitude. So intersection here, draw an arc, intersection here, draw an arc. So here's my second altitude. It starts at this vertex and it goes through this intersection. I notice that when I'm making my altitudes, I'm making them extra long so that I can see where they're intersecting. So I've already done this intersection, this vertex and this vertex. I now need to do this vertex. So I'm going to start at this vertex. I need to see where it's going to intersect this triangle on this side. Hopefully you can see where the original triangle is. Let me just go over this real quickly. Lots going on in the picture here. So from here to this side, or part of this side. So the next thing I'm going to do, like I've done with the other two, put my point on that vertex, and I'm going to make sure it's going to hit both sides. But look, it doesn't really cross it very neatly, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to make that intersection there, and intersection on the other side. Those are my two intersections that I'm going to use to make my X out here. I'm going to put my point at this intersection and draw an arc. Put my point at the other intersection without changing the opening and make another inner arc. So this one starts at this vertex and it goes through this intersection. Using colors may be very helpful, because now you can see the pink, the purple, and the green are all altitudes. They go through a vertex and they intersect the opposite side at a 90-degree angle. This point right here is called the orthocenter, which is the meeting point of all of the altitudes.